Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. Nice and bitter cold everywhere. All you guys up in the Northeast getting snow like crazy, right? Yeah, how well are they taking care of it? Okay. I mean, does it have to be plowed? Do you have ice on the streets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? What we're looking at here, now that the election is pretty much almost 3 weeks in the rearview mirror at this point, is the difference between big government and small government. Okay, we just went through 4 years of big government policies run by the Democrats versus the people coming up and saying now this big government crap doesn't work, we want small government. Okay, there's all sorts of talk about protests. Oh my God, when Trump comes in, we're going to go into civil war between the left and the right. Yeah, okay. That would be a mistake for one side, let's put it that way, and I'll get to that in a minute. But you look at what's going on now that Trump has basically nominated his cabinet, and how many of those people are coming in going, okay, you know what? I'm getting rid of most of this stuff. Right? You know, we've got Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy with the Department of Government Efficiency. How can we clean house? How can we get rid of all of this? And we've heard of some that rightfully should go. The Department of Education, that's an absolute should be gone. It was created under Jimmy Carter, and in the period from the late 70s to the 2020s, the United States has gone from the #1 school system in the world to the number 23. That's how effective our Department of Education has been. Okay. Or we talk about, let's say, the Environmental Protection Agency. Why do we need a government agency to do something the states are already doing, right? Redundancy. We don't need it. We could look at the Department of the Interior. Here's a great idea. Why do we need that as well? Give all the national parks that, for the most part, the federal government doesn't do anything with, and make them turn the control over to the states and let the states do something with it. You know, Grand Canyon National Park, give it to Arizona, okay? Yellowstone, whatever, pick something. Let the states in which those national parks, national wonders, whatever you want to call it, let them handle it, right? Make more sense. The people in those states are the ones that have to put up with the traffic. They have to have the infrastructure, say the hotels, the gas stations, the restaurants for all those tourists. Why is it that the federal government has to make the money off of it and really not maintain it, right? Just saying. You know, you look at the difference of the two parties. Well, of course you have big government versus small government. Let's take a look at government employees, for example. Over the last, let's say going all the way back at least to Obama, 95% of political contributions, 95% plus, made by government employees have gone to Democrat candidates. Makes sense. The Democrats want to keep big government. They want to keep all these 2 million plus civilians that work for the federal government directly. They want to keep their jobs. Why would they donate money to a candidate who says, I want to eliminate your department? Okay, I get it. But there's one, well, there's more than one. I mean, Department of Education certainly affects us. A lot of us who are of childbearing age, if you will, homeschool our kids because we know how incompetent the school systems are in the country under the Department of Education. But the one that's kind of really interesting to look at is the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, right? Personally, it sounds more like a good name for a store than it does for a government agency. Should the ATF be disbanded? Yeah, probably. Why? Well, let's go through a few things. First off, the ATF as a whole is unconstitutional. How about that? Did you ever think of that one? 10th Amendment says no federal police force, right? Except ATF agents have badges, carry guns, have arrest powers. Therefore, they're a law enforcement agency, a federal one, which is explicitly prohibited in the U.S. Constitution, right? Let's take a look at some of the great accomplishments that the ATF has given us. I don't know. We could talk about Ruby Ridge. We could talk about Waco. You know, David Koresh, let's go kill a bunch of women and children, just burn everything down, right? Talk about that, and I'll remember that one. What are we talking about? The same ATF that asked Randy Weaver to make them sawed-off shotguns, and then when he did it for them, then they arrested him for doing it? Okay. You know, I don't know, you call that entrapment. You know, I mean, it's no different than what happened this past week with this guy who was gonna bomb the New York Stock Exchange, I think, or something like that. And it turned out that the FBI basically had talked him into doing it. You know, this is the problem we get. So now we have a congressman, and this has been put up before. I mean, Matt Gaetz had done it in 2023, put up a bill to Congress to abolish the ATF. Didn't go anywhere in 2023. Now there's another one that's getting ready to be put up in the 119th Congress, once both houses are in GOP control, and so is the White House, getting rid of an unconstitutional department. Why should it happen? Well, let's take a look at it. Alcohol. Pretty much we have laws across the country that differ from state to state, okay? Pretty much the 21-year-old drinking age is everywhere, but go take a look at the beer you can buy in Utah versus the beer you can buy in, say, Texas. The alcohol content has to be different. Take a look at where you can buy beer, wine, liquor, difference in different states. Some you can do it at the gas station, some you can't. Some you can do it in the grocery store, some you can't. Some you have to have a state-sponsored liquor store, some you don't. You know, laws are different all over the place. You know, take a look at when. Some places you can, some places you can't buy liquor on Sunday. I mean, I'll give you this. This is how it is here in Tennessee. The town up for me, Tazewell and New Tazewell. Okay, the town split apart due to the railroad back. This was in the 1800s somehow. They're right next to each other. You think it's all just one town. In New Tazewell, you cannot buy beer or wine until noon on Sundays. But in Tazewell, you can buy it at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. Okay. Remind me again why we need a federal enforcement agency when the states are already taking care of it. You know, going into tobacco. All right, pretty much we got that one covered. Everybody in the country pretty much follows the same rules there. Makes sense. Firearms. Let's see, every time I buy any sort of weapon, it's the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation who runs my background check, not the Federal Bureau of Investigation. What does the ATF do again? Okay, you know, we're not This isn't prohibition. This isn't the whiskey rebellion, anything. The ATF is another one that is absolutely useless. You know, let's take a look at what they've tried to do. Do they think they're a legislative body? It was the ATF that said, oh, you can't have bump stocks. Oh, you can't have pistol braces. It wasn't Congress, the legislative branch of our government. It was some agency with unelected bureaucrats who basically made a decision and said, this is the law. No, you don't have the authority to do that. And of course, the Supreme Court eventually gets to the case and says, nope, they don't have the authority to do that. This is a branch of government that needs to go. Okay. Why would you have the difference between conservatives and liberals on who wants it to go? Let's take a look at something really interesting and the claims that the Democrats are saying, oh, we're going to have civil war. We're going to civil war once Trump is inaugurated. Okay. Not buying it. Why? I'll give you a good reason. Liberals, what are they going to do, throw rocks at you? They're afraid of guns. Not all of them, okay? But in general, there was a report that came out Friday, kind of interesting. Gallup did a poll, all right, on the change of gun ownership in the United States, going back a little bit, from the Obama era to now. In the late 2000s, early 2010s, Republican women, 19% of Republican women said they owned guns. Now, it's 33%. The percentage of gun ownership amongst conservative women has gone up 14%. Why? Oh, I don't know. Maybe Laken Riley. Maybe Jocelyn Nungaray. Maybe God knows how many other women who have been accosted in one way, shape, or form said, you know what, I need to protect myself. Independent women gained 2%. Liberal women, they own less guns now than they did during the Obama era. Interesting. Let's take a look at men. Republican men have always been the largest subset of gun owners in the country. Okay. Since the Obama era, 3% more men own guns now than did then. Democrat men, 7% less. Makes sense, because if you're a male and vote Democrat, you are absolutely a beta male, okay? You know, you probably want to dress in a dress, but, you know, this is the party who owns less guns than they did a decade ago, both men and women, that think they're going to go to civil war. Right? Okay. I mean, what are they going to do? Throw their dildos at you? They're going to scream and yell at you. They're going to call you names, you know, and that'll work. Right? Go ahead. I laugh at it because they are so adamant about keeping big government. Big brother's got to watch over everything because they're afraid of doing anything for themselves. Oh my God, I need the government to tell me what I need to buy for Thanksgiving dinner. I need the government to tell me what my kids should learn in school. Cradle to grave bullshit. That's all it is. You have a whole 48% based on the election from a couple of weeks ago, a whole group of people who have given up their independence completely. The government needs to tell me what to do. Barack Obama said it, that the people of the United States are too stupid to make decisions for themselves and they need government to tell them what to do. He was at least describing his own party. The rest of us who continue to do the right thing, take care of ourselves, provide for ourselves, make our own decisions, good or bad, accept the consequences of those decisions, raise our kids right, our grandkids right. We don't need the government to help us. A lot of us are looking forward to the new administration coming in and taking a chainsaw to all this waste that you and I, even though we don't use it, have to pay for it. Pinball out.